welcome to our e-launch, I guess, video launch of Diathor Flowable. I'm just going to welcome two special guests, special in the sense that we have Francisco online from Hong Kong. Francisco's joined us because he's part of our team in that he actually developed the what is now Diathor Flowable, and he and I have been working very, very closely over the last 2 years to bring it to the market through Australia and Southeast Asia. Francisco's been using it in his pest control business for a couple of years in Hong Kong now because it's a lot easier to register in Hong Kong than here. And his business is just, he basically only uses this product and a little bit of our Atrathor. Um, and we also have Dr. Stephen Doggett on the line. And Stephen was one of the researchers who did some of the trial data that we did in Australia. And you'll see his smiling face during the presentation. I'm, without further ado, then going to start the presentation. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Welcome to our launch of Diathor Flowable. I really do think this is an exciting new concept in pest management, but it really does need to, it becomes a different focus as to how you do pest management. Just as when we moved to cockroach gels, you had to sort of approach doing cockroach work in a totally different way. In a sense, when we moved to liquid baits with Atrathor, you did it differently. And this is a totally different concept again because it's moving into the use of a dust. The beauty of the system is in every single trial, in all the work that we do, we have an absolute 100% kill rate of bed bugs and cockroaches, which has been our real focus just because of the application methodology as much as anything. It will kill any insect, but they're the pests that we have on the label and that we've done all our research on and all our focus on. And this product is being used in great volumes in Hong Kong, amazing volumes because it is just so effective. It's starting to export around the world. I know Anti-Cemex are using it in Spain now. They've taken a pallet, and we're just starting to spread it out into other countries. So it's proven both in the field and in numerous research studies to provide these 100% kill rates in these species, and it does so with a long-term residual performance. And what do we mean by long-term? Basically, if the deposit's there, it's going to kill insects. It's not broken down, so really the residual performance is determined by if the deposit is removed in any way, or obviously dust or other things settle on it. So certainly we can comfortably say 3 months, potentially more, it will keep working. And there will be no avoidance. It's totally undetectable, non-repellent, and there's no resistance to it. And this is a great thing because we are seeing increasing issues of resistance to most actives. And if we look in the US, there's very high levels of resistance to any active you want to name. And we're starting to certainly pick it up in Southeast Asia. We don't have any research entomologists to do studies in Australia, but certainly if you've got a challenging cockroach job or really any bed bug job, given how rapidly bed bugs throw up resistance, this is the product you need to be using. So as I said, it does mean a fundamental change in how you do your pest management, and it does challenge traditional concepts of spraying and putting a bit of bait out for cockroach or bed bug elimination. But I think in all of the years I've been doing R&D in this field, there's no other product quite matches it for its performance. So what makes it different? What makes it special? Let's start with that. First off, it has a purely physical mode of action. This is not a neurotoxin. It's not a chemical in the traditional sense. It works purely by a physical mode of action. Basically, it's very abrasive. So it will abrade away the exoskeleton of the insect, and it will also cause the insects to desiccate, that is, to dry out, and it will kill them very rapidly. It actually contains 945 grams per kilogram of amorphous silica. That is actually a man-made silica, but basically it's what's on the beach. Except our particle size is way, way, way finer than what you see on the beach. But basically, amorphous silica is sand. except we've synthetically created it and we've done it targeting, in this case, the selection more, the insects that we're going to be controlling. And that's why we get this unparalleled efficacy. It kills highly resistant cockroaches and bed bugs because they can't throw up resistance because it's a physical mode of action. We're not working on the endocrine system or the nervous system. It won't induce resistance. And for this reason, it's not listed on the IRAC resistance database. IRAC stands for the International Resistance Action Committee. That's the committee that assigns resistance groups to insecticides. If you look at any of our product labels or any of our competitor product labels for that matter, you'll always see there's a code on the label. The code might be 4, which is, or 4A, which is imidacloprid, for example, and that allows you to select products from a different group without necessarily fully understanding what the insecticide is. So it's exempt from IRAC listings. It will, as I said, long-term residual, and we do have a specially designed delivery system to enable you to get the best results from the product. Now, amorphous silica is nothing new to pest control. It's been around for many years in the US in particular. I know there's probably half a dozen or more registered products, but what we've done is something quite unique in developing this, and it's very, very different to anything out in the market that may also contain diatomaceous earth or silica, amorphous silica. And that's because what we've done is we use 3 distinct silicates. They're each selected for different abrasive and desiccant properties. So nobody else uses anything other than just one amorphous silica that they've selected. This is being carefully selected for 3 totally different silicates that each work differently. And then we've combined them in a very unique manner to achieve the results that we do. So we have a silicon dioxide, and then we have 2 amorphous silica gels, and I'm going to look at them individually. So the silicon dioxide, I mean, that comes as a very fine powder, but we take that fine powder and we grind it even finer in a fluidized jet mill. We then take the 2 amorphous silica gels, which again are fine powders, and we blend them together in a ribbon mixer. And then we integrate them together through a high-speed centrifugal atomizer with air injectors. So that's a centrifuge, spinning it around, injecting air in it. And what that's doing is it's getting those 2 powders totally blended together. And then it's compacted and integrated together. And then we go into another centrifugal atomizer and we put all 3 into this centrifugal atomizer. And so what that means is they're totally blended together. If you randomly take 3 grains, they're going to be different because they're totally totally mixed together more completely than you can possibly do it in any other manner. And that's why if an insect gets 3 or half a dozen grains, it's getting them of all the different products. It's a very, very light dust. If I were to have a sack of it like this, it would weigh only a few grams. You'd pick it up with your little finger. And as a consequence of being so fine and so light, it literally floats deep into cracks and crevices. But it is electrostatically charged, and you'll see this later. So what that means is it doesn't just blow all over the place. It adheres to the insect's exoskeleton. It finds that exoskeleton out, and or it adheres to the surfaces where you're applying it. And so we get this thorough coating, particularly if you dust the bed bugs themselves, as you can see in that little shot there. It's long lasting, it's non-repellent, as I've already said. And this was quite interesting that I wouldn't have expected. But in all the studies that we did, and the studies were done in high-level institutions, university institutions, government laboratories, we actually have a full viral transfer effect. In other words, once we've dusted one cockroach or one bed bug, they will actually spread the Diathor to other bed bugs in the aggregate or colony. And so what this means is we don't necessarily have to treat all the cockroaches. We don't have to treat all the bed bugs in a room. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but it does mean you've got that leeway that if you don't get to all of the insects and they're in an aggregate and joined together, then they're going to pass it on to each other. And so I think that this is something where, again, no other product matches this performance in being a natural product or effectively a natural product, a non-synthetic chemical pesticide that has this transferability and gives this 100% mortality. We've got a lot of research that we've done on that. I'm not going to labor through it, but this is all on the APVMA's website. This is all our protected data. It means we also had a lot more data, but that's just the protected data that we have protected for 5 years. A great deal of research and study went into this. We're now going to look at the three main institutions that have done the work, at least that did the work for Australia, because since we submitted for registration in Australia, we have done studies in other countries for registrations in those countries. And the first of those is New Mexico State University in America. They did work with both bed bugs and cockroaches, and they tested about 5 different species of cockroaches. Obviously, the common ones, American cockroach and German cockroach, but they did Turkestan cockroaches, they did Oriental cockroaches. It was a very comprehensive study. Looking first at the results that they got against highly resistant bed bugs. And the bed bug strains that we see in America are very highly resistant, as indeed are the Parramatta or Sydney strain that we worked with through Stephen Doggett here in Australia. So these bed bugs that we're working with basically can't be controlled with most insecticides. You may kill a small percentage of the population, but you don't get control. So we also tested it using some positive controls from the US market. So these are all products that are in the US market using amorphous silica. So there was Cemexa, Alpine, which is from BASF, Tri-Dye Dust, and Mother Earth D, which is dust, which is also from BASF. And it was uniquely, the performance of this product was unique in this having this totally non-repellent attitude that we're going to look at here. The cockroaches just did not detect its presence, and that, of course, I'm sorry, the bed bugs, cockroaches didn't either, but we're talking bed bugs. So they just naturally keep going into those cracks and crevices, giving us those better results. So these are we did both trials where we obviously directly dusted the bed bugs, but we also put the dust into cracks and crevices where they had a free choice. They didn't have to go into the crack or crevice. They had alternate harborages. And what we showed was this is a direct quote from that report, where bed bugs were offered crevices. We were using concrete blocks. Most insects rapidly seek harborages even though treated with Diathor Flowable. This is evidence that the bed bugs do not avoid Diathor Flowable, and as I say, that didn't happen with the other products. They tested a whole range of surfaces, as you can see here, and you can see that within 72 hours on all surfaces tested, this is just where we've treated the surface and then left the bed bugs in a free choice experiment to go on that surface. Within 72 hours, always 100% mortality. When we applied it directly to the bed bugs within 9 hours or forced exposure, that's when we put it in like a Petri dish and put them on the dish so they couldn't avoid it. Within 9 hours, we had 100% mortality. Whereas, I can tell you from doing this sort of work with insecticides, those are astoundingly fast times. and you rarely get 100% with insecticides. So this study also went on to show that the bed bugs can transfer the Diathor Flowable to other members of the aggregate. And obviously this is a particularly important finding because, as you know, it's often very difficult to find all the bed bugs. And if you miss any, then your population can explode again. Whereas this is showing that we can, through viral transfer, spread it between the aggregate. Here you can see some photos from that report. There you can see they're not coated in it because this is a free choice trial. Remember, we've not dusted the bed bugs. They can freely go into the harborages. And you can see there the particles quickly adhere to the bed bugs' bodies because of this electrostatic attraction. We see both large and small particles on the insects' bodies. And this is after 5 minutes, so they've only been in that arena for 5 minutes. Looking at the work they did at New Mexico with cockroaches, and again, just quoting directly from the report, due to its lightness, it appears to form a cloud on the initial application. The advantage of this characteristic is that it quickly coats the insect body. And what's not mentioned there, because they're doing research work, is it quickly coats, if you say doing underneath a dishwasher or in the electrics of a dishwasher, it just quickly coats the area. It was effective at killing domestic, which is basically where we're talking German cockroaches, and peri-domestic cockroaches, which is the term for Turkestan cockroaches, Orientals, American cockroaches. Of sort of the best value for us, because it's our biggest problem, the fastest mortality of cockroaches was observed in German cockroaches, and of course this is where most resistance is too. And these all died within 5 minutes of exposure to the product. There was no avoidance behavior of German cockroaches to areas treated with Diathor, which means they will pick up the dust readily. In choice trials, and we're going to look at the setup of the choice trials in the next slide. So we now have harborages that are treated and a harborage that's untreated in an arena where there's food and water. So the cockroach can choose, does it go into the treated harborage or does it go into the untreated harborage? So we don't expect to see kills so quickly in these sorts of trials. But we still had 100% elimination of all German cockroaches within 4 days. The test material was not avoided in observations, and well, obviously not, because we had 100% mortality. And obviously this is a very desirable property. So again, this is a photograph directly out of the report. In the upper left here, you can see a breeding chamber. This is just where they breed the cockroaches. So the natural harborage we use for them is egg cases. We give them food, we give them water, and we just use that to breed the cockroaches, which will then later go into the test chamber, which is over here. And as you can see, we just use these egg cases or cartons, and we put 2 cartons in the harbor in the test arena, and one of these is very lightly dusted with the Diathor Flowable. The other is not treated at all. They then are actually turned the other way up, so they provide a nice harborage. And into that container are placed 40 cockroaches. We use 20 nymphs, 10 adult males, and 10 adult females. Females are the hardest to kill, and adult males are actually easier to kill than nymphs. But as we showed earlier, 100% mortality. So they could have gone to this harborage and just stayed in that harborage and we'd have no mortality. This was the treated harborage, but the reality was 100% mortality because they couldn't detect the presence of the Diathor Flowable. Coming closer to home then, Dr. Stephen Doggett produced this paper, which is also available on our website, The Efficacy of Diathor Flowable Insecticide Against the Common Bed Bug, Cimex lectularius. And again, I'll just take some summaries from that work. Stephen, of course, is the author of the Bedbug Code of Practice that's published by the AEPMA for Australia and is used in many other countries too. He's also the lead author for the definitive book on bedbugs, which has been published and sold right around the world, and is very much a world recognized expert in bedbugs. In his report, Stephen noted that he evaluated Diathor Flowable to kill unfed adult bed bugs, freshly blood-fed bed bugs, and to kill first install bed bugs because each of those can be more challenging to control than the other. So we made sure we could kill the entire range. He tested two strains, an insecticide susceptible strain known as Monoheim. This is a strain that has been developed and maintained out of Germany, and it's maintained in many laboratories around the world. This is a strain that's not the base strain that we breed from is not exposed to any insecticide, so it's a very susceptible strain. If you're going to, if you can't kill the Monoheim strain, you don't have a product. And then a field collected modern multi-resistant strain, which is referred to as the Parramatta strain from Parramatta in the western suburbs of Sydney. And this is an extremely resistant strain that's highly resistant to pyrethroids, carbamates, etc. In his study, he showed that Diathor Flowable was highly efficacious, his words, against susceptible and resistant strains, against both adult and juvenile stages. It produced 100% mortality in all the bed bugs tested. It produced a significantly faster kill in all the trials than a similar positive control product. So again, comparing it to a product with a similar active. As I say, in a sense, we're unique. We are amorphous silica, but we have three different forms of it in the product. This faster efficacy means that the client will suffer fewer bites and the infestation is less likely to spread. And as I say, that report is on our website. Finally, we had a study from Dr. Naylor. He's based out of Sheffield University in the United Kingdom, and he's very much the bedbug guru of the Europe. And his report again summarized 100% mortality to bedbugs resistant to pyrethroid and carbamate insecticides. The results indicate that it is extremely good for bedbug control. And there have been many ensuing studies because we're developing this through Southeast Asia. So we've been doing trials in Thailand, the Philippines, Indonesia, South Africa, and always with excellent results. We also, of course, need to look at the safety of the product. And, as I said at the start, silicas are what we find on the beach in sand. And but we did full toxicology studies to show that it is a low risk product. In those results, when we do testing nowadays, we obviously want to minimize any killing of rats, which we have to work with. We have to do these to get registrations, but we want to minimize that. So we do what's called an up and down test. So you start at a high level, and if you kill at that level, you don't do any other work. You go down. If you killing rats at the level you start at, then you go down to a different level. And so we started at 4,000 milligrams per kilogram, and we basically had no mortality, no injuries in any test animals. So the acute dermal is greater than 4,000 milligrams per kilogram. The acute oral is greater than 4,000. In eye irritation tests, it's not irritant. Skin irritation, not irritant. Skin sensitization, this is if you get a buildup of and negativity to it or irritation to it. It was classed as not a skin sensitizer, and the acute inhalation test is greater than 5 milligrams per liter of air. So that again is a very, very high number. So basically, a low risk, no risk product from that perspective. I also pulled this quote from a report that an independent report on amorphous silicates in general. This is not specific to our product. This is a generalized report on amorphous silicates that was published back in 2012 in the peer-reviewed journal Toxicology. And this reported synthetic amorphous silicas have been used in a wide variety of industrial and consumer applications, including food, cosmetics, and pharmaceutical products for many decades. So I want to stress each of the ingredients that we use is used as a filler in foods, in cosmetics, in pharmaceutical products. I'm not suggesting that you spray people, dust people with it or anything, um, but they are used in this manner. Based on extensive physicochemical, ecotoxicology, toxicology, safety, and epidemiology data, no environmental or health risks have been associated with these materials. None of these were shown to bioaccumulate and all disappear within a short time from living organisms. The silicates that we use in their individual rights are actually approved or meet the standards required for use in foods for human consumption. This is the Australian label. As you see, Diathor Flowable long-term insect killer, a ready-to-use dust treatment for the control of bed bugs and cockroaches. It comes in a 500-gram pack. And as you'll see, it's quite a big pack because it's a very light product, even though we do compact it to get it into as compact a space as we can. I just want to highlight two things from the label on the safety directions. Um, you should, when you're using the product, wear safety glasses and a disposable respirator. I want to stress this is simply because it is a very, very fine dust. And it doesn't matter what dust you're working with, that's what you should be doing. If you go to a flour mill where the flour for baking or bread is, they're going to wear a dust mask and eyeglasses. It's just a common sense approach, especially when you're using it on a regular basis, which hopefully you will be, or your technicians will be. In the restraints, it does say do not apply directly to the mattress, sheets, or pillows. Everywhere else is fine. I don't know why it says that, and you'll see why I'm particularly confused when I show the next slide. But this isn't a problem because we still have a solution for mattresses, sheets, and pillows. And the other thing is do not use in wet areas or where liquid insecticide preparations have or are likely to be used within a week of treatment because they're going to basically, make it so that the insect can't pick this up. And so we are bringing back to the market Diathor bedbug killer aerosol. Basically, this is an updated formulation. It used to come in a 250-gram can. It now comes in a 350-gram can. And on a gram per gram basis, it's about the same price. Um, and it's Diathor Flowable in an aerosol can. Hence why I say I don't know why we have that restriction on Diathor Flowable, because on the Diathor Bedbug Killer aerosol can, it says bed bugs apply to bedsteads, bed springs, mattresses, floor coverings, upholstered furniture, cracks in walls, behind torn wallpaper, joints in woodwork, and other harbourages. So we have the total solution for bed bugs. As I said, it is a very light dust. We need to make sure the dust is applied properly, that we get it to the insects. And so we have this very professional Diathor application kit. This kit consists of 3 different application nozzles, a applicator with puffer, and a little brush. Basically, when you're doing cockroaches, you're going to be using the applicator with one of these nozzles, mostly the extension nozzle. Sorry about that, keep moving. When you're doing bed bugs, you may very well find yourself just dusting the mattress, just dusting into the cracks and crevices with that brush. And it's amazingly fast to do it. It might at first sound, gosh, will be forever, but really, you need so little of the dust. You just brush it around, and you can move through a room so fast, so thoroughly, so carefully that you don't miss anything around the PowerPoints, etc. And for cockroaches, again, you'll see just how fast it can be for cockroaches. I will stress when you're using the dust applicator, most people go to use it with the reservoir on the bottom, but you fill it obviously with the reservoir on the bottom, but you use it with the reservoir on the top, and that way you'll get the best flow of the product. So that's the right way up for using the product. Now, I'm going to show a couple of videos because there's no better way to show the next steps. It's a very, very light dust, as I said, and so it is a little bit messy, or can be a little bit messy unless you do it slowly and carefully in an indoor environment where you don't have any breeze to fill that reservoir. And so we have all the way from Western Australia a recording of Willie, who's our YouTube king, and showing you how to fill that reservoir.
Hi, so we have the Diathor Flowable powder here, and this is the applicator kit. So we have these little funnels that come flat. They're quite easy to make up. You just roll them into this cylinder shape here, and it just gets applied into the vial.
So I just wanted to pause for a moment there because there is a step that you'd normally have to do that we don't have in the video. But you'll see that we have this plastic box that the product comes in, so it's easy to reseal. And inside there is the product, which is being compressed into a craft paper bag. And you just use a sharp blade to cut here, 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 to open a flap so that you can access what's inside the craft carton. So don't take the craft carton out of the container, leave it in the container and just use a sharp blade to cut an envelope out to access the product.
Comes in these containers, obviously they're resealable and stuff. This dust is very light, so when we fill it, we just want to scoop it up inside this little vial that we're talking about, give it a tap, and as you can see, it's gone down into there very easily. We'll just do it again, and that's it. So I've just got some dust inside this cylinder here, and then it's just a case of screwing it back onto the applicator, and that's it. That is your flowable powder ready to go. Okay, we have the flowable powder inside the applicator. So this is a complete kit here. You've also got a dusting brush here for when you're doing areas also. And inside the kit, this is just the part that holds all your applicator together. There's a few different fittings in here. So we just take this end stopper off and it screws on. And this is a great little device, this. So as you can see, it's extendable. So when we're applying the dust, just make sure you've got the applicator the correct way up. So on the lid here, it's actually, I don't know if you can see that, it's numbered from 1 to 5. So this will give you the different flow rates on your dust applicator. And I'll just give it a puff here and you can see how effective this actually is. So hopefully you can see the dust coming out of there. It's a good flow. So on this here, just to give you an idea on the application. So as I say, make sure you have the applicator the correct way up. And then, as I say, this is telescopic on the end here. So as you can see, if I extend that right out, we can put that underneath the electrical appliance and just give it a puff with the duster, You probably can't see that on the camera, but I can just see a little bit of dust appearing there. And then that's how you go around in like a kitchen area, for example, and you put it under again, and you can go into a few different areas. But having this telescopic lens on it is very handy, that's for sure. All right, no problem. Thank you for watching.
There we go. Okay, so that's the little cardboard filling thing that we have. I keep meaning, Andrew, we need to make sure that they are being shipped out with every pack of the dust. We should send one or two out, and they just fold together to make it easier to fill. I've got to say, this product is going down really well in New Zealand, and they just don't care. They just dig the thing in with their hands and do it. But we like to be at least show you how to do it professionally and not make a great big mess. What we're going to do now is Willie is actually being out on deep water fishing, and he's just come rushing back into a kitchen in Perth. And we're now going to have Willie, if he's ready, show you how to actually apply the product in the field for cockroaches.
Okay, hi, it's Willie here. Hey, thanks very much for joining me. So I'm here today. I've got the Diathor Flowable powder. So we've got the vessel with us today. I just also remember this is registered for bed bugs and cockroaches. So it comes with a little dusting brush for when you're doing bed bugs. Now, with this applicator, it comes with 3 different nozzles, and they're just in the base of the box here. So we've got our applicator, and as you can see, we've got a little stopper on the end here. This is just to stop dust coming out. And then I have got my wand that I can connect onto the end of it. So I'm just going to screw that on there. And as you can see, this is a telescopic wand that's on here, so we can reach further back to appliances in the kitchen. On the bottom here, there is an adjuster. If you turn that, that will change the flow of the Diathor powder coming out of here. So I'm just going to take you back. I'll let the camera follow me in. So we've got a dishwasher back here, and with the dishwasher, I know underneath this one, there is a gap. And if we go underneath, we can just press the applicator, and we're puffing dust in under there. The absolutely fantastic thing about this Diathor Flowable is it sticks to all the underside. It has a real compound for sticking, so it doesn't matter if people wash under there. Underneath the dishwasher, the flowable powder is going to be stuck in there. And the same as well, it's a dishwasher, so we've got all these different gaps and so forth. So we just dust away. I'm going to come up. You can't really see it round here. There is a soap mixer. I'm just going to dust in the back of that soap mixer. It's pretty much just like this one on the wall here. So we'll put it in here. We're going to dust away. There's a couple of other areas on the dishwasher here. And then I'm going to go underneath the sink. And we'll just give a few applications under here. Some pipe work back there as well. I'm going to take you across here. I'll just move this out of the way. And we've got a coffee machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up underneath. And apply the dust underneath here. And the same again, moving all around the kitchen. There is just so many areas in here that we can dust away. So we'll put the dust into here. We'll have a look inside here. You can see a lot of pipe work. Hopefully you can see that from up there. We're just going to stick that flowable powder inside there. Now, if you follow me around this way, we've just got a couple of appliances, coffee bean grinders across here. So the same again, we can put the applicator in. As you can see, dust underneath it. We're just putting some dust. We've got a meat cutter here. I'm just going to apply some dust on there. And we have got a fridge rear end here, so Well, it's actually a freezer box to the motor. So I'm just going to apply some dust into that area down there. And as you know, we got a sink back here as well, small sink, but we're going to do all the pipe work. So forth, we've got soap dispensers, we've got gaps at the back of them, we're going to give them a dust. We've got a hand towel dispenser here, just going to give that a dust. And we're looking pretty good on that section there. So that's it. As you can see, it's really easy to move around the kitchen area to apply the dust through this applicator. So Diathor Flowable is absolutely fantastic. Simple to use, as you've seen. We've dusted in a few areas here. I can probably do this whole section down the bottom here in round about 15 minutes, I would say, once I get started going. So anyway, thanks very much for joining me. That is how to use the Diathor Flowable duster. Thanks again for watching.
I think you can see from that yes, it's quick to do. You don't really make a mess with it because it does adhere to things, and you can move around so fast in your application and be so thorough in your application. That entire kitchen was done. I don't know if you noticed, there was still a lot of dust left in that duster. Obviously, it's very hard to say how far will the dust go. It depends on the kitchens, the restaurants, or the areas, but you certainly it certainly goes a long way. That one there doing a kitchen like that, we'd probably do 3 kitchens if that had been full, maybe 4. Just to show you how to use the dust, I just got duster rather. These are some jobs we're doing for bed bugs. We're just going to start with the bed frame and just see how quick and fast and easy it is to use the duster when you're doing bed bugs. Now in a wall, and to stress again there, you don't need very much of this. You just need a very, very light deposit. And finally on a sofa. Those videos were from Francisco in Hong Kong, who's literally done thousands of successful bed bugs and more recently cockroach jobs with the product. So this is our pricing. The 500-gram pack sells for $108. Um, we sort of estimate that, if you were doing bed bugs in a hotel room, you'd use at most 12 grams to treat every single crack crevice in the hotel room, which would work out at a couple of dollars. If And then the precision applicator kit, that is 89.95. We price that so you can make sure that you have the equipment to do the job. And as I say, that includes the brush, which is a makeup brush, the 3 nozzles, and the applicator and reservoir. So just to come back, I briefly mentioned it before when we said, hey, we don't have mattresses and pillows on the label of the Diathor Flowable, but we do have it on the label of Diathor Bedbug Killer Aerosol. As I said also earlier, this is basically, well, not basically, this is the same exact same product inside an aerosol can. So again, low risk, easy to use, same long lasting results, same transfer effect, still non-repellent, still controlling resistant strains, and fully tested in Australia and overseas. The most important thing with this to get the results is you must shake the can very well before use. There is a metal ball in there, you'll hear that, and you need to thoroughly shake it. And when I say shake it, I'm meaning shake it vigorously. I do have to get Willie to do a video showing the use of the aerosol yet, but as I say, what I said earlier, he's still out fishing. Um, but you must shake it very, very, very vigorously for 20 to 30 seconds to get it fully suspended. And then it does initially leave a little bit of a visible residue, but it very quickly fades and you can't see where you sprayed. Very effective, very fast. We will look to getting cockroaches on this label as well. I know in Hong Kong they're often using this aerosol for the cockroaches because it's such a fast and easy way to do it. Diathor bedbug aerosol, killer aerosols to say it works out about the same price it used to be on a per gram basis. If you're buying a carton of 12 350-gram cans, it's $203.40. If you just want to buy the can individually, it's $18.95. And so that basically is Diathor bedbug killer aerosol, but Diathor flowable. And I hope we can interest in you in it because you really will see the results if you go with it because we guarantee bed bugs, cockroaches, 100% kill rate. And I got a little question mark there. We've got a few questions already being asked. Is the disposable respirator specific due to contamination risk to the dust on the filters? No, no. I mean, it just needs to be anything. It can be the sort of mask you used to wear for in the COVID days when we all wore a mask. Um, it just needs to be a very basic dust mask like they use in a flour mill. We're not keeping it out because it's toxic. We just because it's a dust, we don't want to be breathing in a dust. All it has to do is keep out dust, so you don't have to dress up like a spaceman or anything. Just a very basic dust mask that you can buy anywhere. Does it contain any crystalline structure in the fine dust? Define crystalline. It's obviously it's molecules of amorphous silica. And it's been fully evaluated from that safety perspective as I've covered in the talk. Is the Diathor dust conductive? If you're dusting electrical components, you aren't going to bridge trip. No, no, you're not going to trip anything when you're doing electrical components. It's a totally inert product. Could the dust cause a flammable atmosphere around kitchens with pilot lights? No, because you're using it so lightly. To get that sort of an effect, you'd really have to have quite a thick, heavy dust cloud. If you're putting that much out, you're doing something seriously wrong. So that really just not an issue. Good question. But no, no, you're doing it so very lightly. Even if you very lightly dusted it over a flame, it's not going to have any effect. As I say, we've been using this in the field in Spain. Anti-Cemex have been using it. We've been enormous volumes going through in Singapore. Is it food safe? Yes, it's fully approved for use in food environments. Somebody thinks it would take way too long to dust with a brush for bed bugs. I can only say from those people doing it, and as many people have been doing it around the world, it's very fast. It really is faster than anything else. You can do this faster than you can spray. How long is it active after application? Basically, so long as as I said at the start, so long as the dust is there, it will kill the insects. It's so at least 3 months. It could be 6 months. It could be 12 months if you're in the cracks and the crevices, because the only thing that's going to deactivate it, for want of a better word, is if you get other deposits on top of it so that the cockroaches or bed bugs can't come into contact with it, or it gets vacuumed away or washed away for whatever reason. But it's a naturally occurring, sorry, it's a silicate, and it's just going to stay there just like sand on a beach sort of thing. It doesn't deactivate from breaking down like a synthetic pesticide would. I'm going to throw over now because this is totally unheralded. Stephen Doggett wasn't even attending this until I happened to be speaking to him at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And I said, look, I got to go because I got a talk on tonight. He said, can I join? So I'm going to throw it to Stephen Doggett, who's done a lot of work with this product. And as you say, number one bed bugs in Australia. And Stephen, would you like to say a few words about it?
Yeah, sure, Steve. So, first of all, I'd better have a conflict of interest statement. I'm not getting paid by Steve or Francisco for appearing on here, but I do have an interest in bedbug control, of course, because I'm the lead author of the Bedbug Code of Practice, and that's been going for now 20 years. And I was the chief editor of the first academic textbook on bed bugs, Advances in the Biology and Management of Modern Bed Bugs, which was my baby, and it was the first academic book for 50 years. And I am actually the most published author in the world, so I've got an interest in bed bugs, understandably. And we did quite a bit of testing of this product over time, and we've actually done a lot more than what Steve's already talked about. So I'll just run a few points. I just took some notes while Steve was talking. Regarding the mode of action, it's not really clear what it is. It's said that what happens is the silica absorbs the waxy cuticle layer of the bed bug, leading to dehydration. But death is too quick for that to actually happen, and we don't understand. Now, when it comes to residual, this product could well last for a long time. I mean, even years. But of course, if you apply it to a room, good chance it's going to be vacuumed. So you want to say to the homeowner, don't vacuum for a couple of weeks. So that would be a good thing to have. And eventually what's going to happen, what's going to render it ineffective, is just build up of dust over time and again vacuuming. Now, I just want to touch on the issue of repellency. Steve mentioned there's no repellency. And the other well-known desiccant dust is diatomaceous earth. And pretty much every product that's gone on the market in Australia, I've done the work for. I've done the efficacy testing. And I did all the work with diatomaceous earth, and that work goes back close to, 18 years, I guess. And we recommend the use of diatomaceous earth in the Bedbug Code of Practice. However, that's going to change. And in fact, we've done quite a bit of work with diatomaceous earth in the last 3-4 years and show that we do get repellency. And so if you treat a surface with diatomaceous earth, bed bugs don't like to walk on it. And so if you give them a choice, they don't want to walk on it. And so there's dramatically reduced efficacy. And the other thing with diatomaceous earth is that the kill time is much, much longer. It can take 2 to 3 weeks. It doesn't take that long with the silica dioxide. It's adults is much slower than the nymphs, depending on the formulations, the dust or the aerosol. It can take a few days at the most, but nowhere near as long as diatomaceous earth. And so to the working party of the Code of Practice, I'll be recommend that we now that we've got silica dioxide in the country, is that we recommend that as a desiccant dust and recommend that diatomaceous earth shouldn't be used now. So that's actually quite a change. Another thing that's really interesting about the desiccant dust is dose isn't critical. So with a lot of insecticides, if you subdose, the insects will just walk over it. Bed bugs will still die, and I've only tested bed bugs, I haven't tested cockroaches, but it just takes longer. So instead of dying in 2 days, if you really dose too low, it will take, a week. It will take longer. Steve mentioned about the formulation of the aerosol. There's another formulation called a lethal harborage, which was something I developed. I don't make any money from it. It was something I developed and published with the view that if anybody wants to develop it and use it, they can. And Francisco is developing it, and hopefully we'll see that in Australia. So this is basically a strip of cardboard that's treated with the desiccant dust, and then you can put it behind the bed, and it can act as a prophylactic, as a preventative. So that can so hopefully reduce bedbug populations building up before they really get out of hands and spread. One thing Steve hasn't mentioned, Steve, naughty of you, but I would always recommend vacuuming first. I mean, vacuum first to reduce the bedbug load before you do anything. I mean, we need to promote IPM. And if I was to say, if you're only going to use 2 tools for bedbug control, vacuum once, one of them, and the other is the desiccant dust, the silicate dioxide. You can really reduce the bedbug population rapidly with vacuums. And sadly, not enough pest controllers use them. I would recommend using a vacuum with a HEPA filter just to protect you. Bedbugs release histamines, and histamines can cause respiratory problems. If you're vacuuming and treating these insects all the time, whether it's cockroaches or bedbugs, you can develop respiratory problems. And I know so many entomologists that work with these insects that they just can't get near these insects anymore because they've developed allergies. One thing about the transfer effect is that nymphs die much quicker than adults, and that's quite important because if you kill off the nymphs, you're not going to have adults produce, and it stops the life cycle. And bedbugs are gregarious, so they release aggregation pheromones. So they tend to, do a lot of poops that contains all the aggregation pheromones, walk off on the bedding, feed, then come back to the same spot. And so if they can pick up a dose of that silicate dioxide while walking, come back, and then they're gregarious to basically save water. They hang around to prevent water loss. The adults can pass the silicate dioxide to the young, which are far more acceptable, and that's just going to stop the cycle, which is really good. And Steve didn't mention, but potentially this could be used as a preventative treatment. So if you've got a situation where you've got, particularly if you're working low-income housing, where often you'll need to inspect the adjoining rooms above and below according to the code of practice. And so if you've got one infested room, you can put barriers around the room to hopefully prevent spread of bed bugs. I hate to say it, but it's true. We know that pest control really led to the bedbug resurgence. Poor pest control caused the bedbug resurgence. Resistance was the trigger, but poor pest control. So if we can put barriers around, and even in the adjoining room, we may do some sort of preventive treatment to allow the fact that the bedbugs may spread from the initial infestation. If it's a big infestation, they're going to spread. I can't emphasize enough about the aerosol. Now, the thing about the aerosol, I mean, there was a comment about applying with the brush. The aerosols are easy to use, but we found that you've really got to shake it, and you cannot emphasize it. And to Francisco, I'll be bringing a report of all the aerosol testing that we did over. You'll be able to get to see this in Malaysia. So we've got Federation of Asian Oceanic Pest Management Association starting on the 13th of July, so the week after next, and I'll be bringing those results over to Francisco. And I can't also emphasize this stuff goes a long way. You don't need much. I remember in the days when I was treating diatomaceous earth and they gave me a chaff bag of the stuff, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do with this? And then the amounts that you use are just tiny. And so while the initial costs seem, I don't think they seem excessive compared to other insecticides, that will last a lot longer than many other products out there. So that's it. Steve?
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. I think Stephen has answered most of the other questions that I'm seeing here. A few people have asked about HACCP. Depends what you mean by HACCP. HACCP is a system. HACCP is hazard analysis at critical control point, and certainly this product is fully approved under Australian food safety legislation for use in HACCP food environments. If you're asking, have we paid all the money to a private company called HACCP Australia or HACCP International Propriety Limited? No, we haven't paid them that money yet. We will do it. We have to pay them a few $1,000s. So we will do that, but it is fully approved under Australian food safety legislation for use in the food environment. Hopefully you've gained something from today. This is just the start, of course. You all know your area managers. Please, if you've got any questions, get onto them tomorrow. If they can't answer it, then they've done plenty of training. But if they can't answer it, they'll get back to me and we'll do whatever we can to help you and support you with this exciting product. And I know if you use it, you will get good results. And it is, I understand, comments such as, oh, that looks very slow to use that duster. It's a new concept. We got to start thinking outside the box, thinking differently. But I can promise you, if I gave two identical hotel rooms to somebody to use traditional products and someone to use this product, they would get the room done far faster with the Diathor Flowable. And the key difference would be you'd have 100% mortality. Whatever insecticidal spray you used in the other room, you would not have 100% mortality. You saw how fast Willie did that kitchen, and he's chatting away to you while he's doing it. So it truly is an exciting product. But yes, you do have to think differently. And I said that right at the very start. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. And we'll catch you around the traps. Cheers.